Have you missed it? Like, do you guys think, oh, I should have got in on Bitcoin?
I don't spend a lot
5 years ago.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is something that certainly a lot of people think, is going to rise as an alternative currency.
The Australian Bitcoin Podcast, presented by HardBlock.
It's not a currency, it's not money. I don't understand it.
G'day, folks. Welcome to the Australian Bitcoin Podcast, where we bring you the best of the Bitcoin signal from an underrepresented Antipodean perspective. Say that 3 times fast. As always, I'm joined by my Australian Bitcoin Podcast co-host.
Wait. What does that mean? What does Antipodean mean?
Oh, don't ask me to say that. It's just a fancy word. Now I have to backtrack. It's like it's an antipole, right? So down in Australia, we're Antipodeans, whereas in the Northern Hemisphere, particularly from the UK, I don't know if they're Podeans. I don't think it's that. But yeah.
Oh, actually, I've looked up the definition. So it says, so number 1 is diametrically opposed. Number 2 is relating to the antipodes, or situated at opposite sides of the earth. And 3, informal, of or pertaining to Australia or New Zealand.
There you go.
Well done. Learn something new.
Underrepresented Antipodean perspective. I told you didn't want to say it fast. Mate, you've returned from one of the more beautiful spots of the Antipodes, Byron Bay, in the rain-soaked, region of northern New South Wales. What's going on? How was it?
It was great. Yeah, loved it. Yeah, so Byron Bay Bash. It's technically not a bush bash. It's a Byron Bay Bash. It was awesome. I've never been to Byron before. It definitely lives up to its reputation. I was told lots of weird, wonderful things to expect in the old Byron Bay, and it definitely delivered. Like, I think I think about it. We recorded an episode. I was there. I'd just got to my hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just got to the hotel, recorded straight up. So I hadn't really seen much of the town. I literally just drove into it, went straight to the hotel and checked in, and then recorded a podcast. So
beautiful.
Yeah, but now
listeners take note.
So after that recording, I then went to meet Daniel at the pub that you recommended, the one right on the beach there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walked to the beach, go along the beach to get to the pub, and it's already dark. But I'm walking along the beach, it's dark, and as I get close to the pub, I see someone in the water, like in the shallows, fully clothed, like spinning. They were just like spinning in the water.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, this is Byron Bay. Then you walk through the park, and there's people doing like the fire spinning, and then there's someone smoking weed over there, and then there's a girl playing guitar over there, and then there's like another hippie circle over there. And this is like, it's dark, and yet people are still doing this. It's like, okay, this place is a bit different.
Yeah, it's a cool place, man. Like, I got a lot of time for Byron. How many influences did you run into?
Well, I don't know. I'm very ignorant of the. I met plenty of Bitcoin influences, I guess, if you can call them that in our humble small Bitcoin community in Australia.
Yeah,
because obviously they were there for the Bush Bash, but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably walk past a bunch of Instagrammers and whatever, taking photos of their food and all that sort of crap, and I wouldn't have a clue who they are. But
blissfully
sure they were
unaware. I love it. Yeah,
but it was great. But Bush Bash is amazing. So again, anyone who's ignorant, go to bitcoinbushbash.info. The next one's up in Palm Cove in July. So that's a bit of a trek, but it's awesome. There were, it's Chatham House rules, so I can't really reveal what was spoken about, what was presented on there. But it was awesome. You have great conversations. There are over 100 people there. So really good turnout. Huge shout out to the Northern Beaches Honey Badger crew. The crew that actually put together the bash.
Yep.
They did an awesome job. And yeah, the venue is right in town, so you could go for a wander, grab an overpriced coffee. Got stung by like a $9.50 coffee.
What? What did it have
Byron,
in it?
Because it's Byron Bay.
What's your coffee order? What are you running for $9.50?
Oh, I just ordered a double shot flat white, and it was
Holy smokes! Yeah. You didn't get any lion's mane or something like that in it?
No, but they probably would do it if you ask, because it is Byron. They're
Byron,
weird
you're
like
taking
that.
the piss at 9.50 for a double shot flat white. That's ludicrous. Sort your life out. No wonder the paramedics can't afford to live there. Man, we had a bunch of, not to shill it too much, but I was a little jealous because you had some hats in tow with our mascot Oscar on them. So bully for anybody that got their hands on a GuardBlock hat. But you had some stickers as well. I'll see if I can put them up. We have some Australian Bitcoin podcast stickers, which have turned out real nice. And I like these ones too. You made these, the Get Bitcoin. It's very directive. Just get Bitcoin.
Just
for
do it.
those
Just
audio
get it.
listeners. It's got our little Oscar with some moonscape scenes, and then the Australian Bitcoin podcast. So if you picked up any of those at the table, I would expect to see them plastered all around Australia, effectively, to spread the signal. Not necessarily the Australian Bitcoin podcast signal, or certainly the HardBlock signal. That always helps, but Bitcoin, just slap it on places and see what happens. I reckon more of that stuff is required. I don't get FOMO very often about things, but I do get FOMO over bush bashes, and certainly the Byron Bay bash as well, because I can't really think of, apart from Palm Cove, but there are crocodiles up there. So there's no crocodiles in Byron. So I can't think of a much more beautiful spot to host and to get together.
It was
with a bunch
raining
of
the whole time, though.
Bitcoiners.
I will say, like, literally, maybe had a few breaks here and there where it wasn't raining, but it was raining pretty much the whole time. But it was warm. I was walking around in a t-shirt most of the time. So
we'll give it up to the organisers, and I suppose we might as well intro the show because we've been riffing. Episode 113, and we're calling this episode, for reasons which may or may not become apparent over the course of the show, Lettuce Hands in Outer Space. Might have to look at the thumbnail to understand that. But as we are recording, we're recording on the 28th of May, 2026. The Bitcoin price, well, let's get to it in just a moment. We are currently sitting at 102,594 Australian dollar dues, or 72,870 cuck-bucks. So price was bouncing around, and now it's dumping, like today, literally, just before we started recording. The interesting thing is, I actually can't figure out why it's dumping. I don't know if you've had much luck researching that, so that we can kind of inform listeners as to why it might be dumping, because it went from about 105 this morning, and it's now currently sitting at around 102. But the interesting thing and the cool thing about Bitcoin is that the network itself is running with boring consistency. Blocks continue, supply issuance continues, 21 million cap remains unchanged, and this is the main thing. I'll just timestamp this. We are recording at block height 951,358, with the current hash rate sitting at around 974 exahash, so just a little below the zeta hash that we've been getting used to. Cool thing is that the issuance, I was talking to a Bitcoiner the other day, earlier this week, and he just couldn't get his head around the scarcity of this thing. Like, it blows his mind with respect to, like, there's less than 5% of this thing remaining. And by the time we get to 2030, 34, there'll be, the block issuance will be less than a whole Bitcoin. Like, this thing is nuts. So screw your price action. Bitcoin continues to astound. And, I don't know. Did you find any kind of reason why?
There's no particular reason that I can see. There's it's kind of falling in line with silver and gold, precious metals. They've taken a hit in the last week. They're down 5%, gold's down 4%, Bitcoin's down 5%, silver's down 4.5%. So we're kind of falling in line with precious metals. S&P 500's up 2% for that same period over the last week. The Dow, basically, it's the classic S&Ps and your Dow and stuff. Those are all pumping. They're having their massive melt up moment.
Right.
People are FOMOing into AI and, what are the other IPOs happening now?
Tesla.
SpaceX,
sorry. Yeah.
SpaceX, and what are the two AI ones called? OpenAI and Anthropic. They're also gearing up for their IPO as well. So,
yay.
yeah, people are just pouring their money into those dinosaurs rather than the safer, harder monies at the moment.
Yeah. Education asymmetry remains. We still have our edge, and we also have more work to do. Well. We'll talk a little bit about Mark Cuban and compare and contrast that with Mr. Musk and one of the largest IPOs ever, I think. But Iran is still in the news. This war, not war, kind of live in this post-truth era where things aren't what you blatantly can see that they are. It's kind of like, are we in a recession? No, we're in a per capita recession. No, we're going to change the definition of recession. It's the same kind of thing with this war. I mean, it's pretty protracted now. What are we talking? At least 8 weeks, roughly?
Yeah, about 2 months now.
And so this choppy price action kind of, I guess, is reflective of the shifting headlines around the US-Iran peace talks or prices, Strait of Hormuz, etc. But what was interesting was this Bitcoin insurance product that came on in the last couple of weeks, where Iran were offering to, transact in Bitcoin. We spoke about that about 4 weeks ago. But it's escalated slightly to the point where there's almost a little bit of an opportunity, a market, a hole in the market has emerged, and people are taking advantage of it. So do you, what is the go there? What is happening in Iran with respect to how people are treating it, clearly as money to get stuff done?
Yeah, well, it's definitely proving the use case of Bitcoin. Money for enemies. Even though Iran is at war with the biggest military power on the planet, they can still transact using Bitcoin. So it's like a perfect use case scenario for why we need Bitcoin. It's like, if you ever want to go up against the biggest military on the planet, Bitcoin still lets you engage in global commerce. But it's one of these things that you also kind of have to keep at arm's length, because the double-edged sword is, well, will the government, especially the Australian government, turn around and say, oh, well, because Bitcoin's being used by the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, it's illegal. We're going to make it illegal. If you use it, you're a terrorist. So that's kind of why I'm not, even though it is the perfect, absolute case study use case for Bitcoin, we still can't talk about it openly. But the hope is that people that are looking this and, seeing the power of having a money that can't be stopped. It's kind of like a wink, nudge, nudge. We know how good this is, but we still can't really talk about it openly because, we're riding this edge here. But yeah, supposedly, and again, it's fog of war and all of that, but Bitcoin adoption in Iran is increasing. They're using it to pay the toll. So if you want to send a shipment of oil through the Strait of Hormuz, you have to pay the toll in Bitcoin, $1 per barrel of oil. They don't want to use USDT for that because, as we spoke about last fortnight, they just had $330 million worth, or something like that, seized by Tether on the behest of the US government. So, well, if you can't use a centralized stablecoin and you can't use other shit coins because they're shit, and they can also be co-opted by a government tapping the person or company that owns that blockchain on the shoulder and say, you need to kick these guys off, all you've got left is Bitcoin. So Iran's realized it. Russia's going to realize it. All the BRICS nations are going to realize it. They're going to abandon their folly of trying to have some other alternative currency to the US dollar. Eventually, slowly, they're going to realize Bitcoin's the only option.
Going to figure it out. Well, the UK are doing their best with respect to Russia. and how they've been trying to route around sanctions in a sly roundabout way. The UK sanctioned 18 entities linked to the so-called A7 network, a Kremlin-backed crypto and payments infrastructure allegedly used to help Russia bypass Western sanctions. Targets reportedly included exchanges, payment providers, banks, companies, and individuals. The network allegedly used quote-unquote crypto rails, I'm pretty sure they mean Bitcoin rails, and stablecoins to move value outside normal banking channels. I like the posturing of the UK here, where they're kind of puffing up their chests and saying we're going to strengthen our resolve and do more to try and mitigate these transactions with Bitcoin, when ultimately they can't do anything. And this is just another example of when an entire nation state is kind of backed into a corner, or even you as an individual, if you cannot make transactions, you get debanked or whatever the case may be. Bitcoin is there. It will work, and it will be. It'll do what it says on the tin: peer-to-peer electronic cash.
It's interesting that the UK is sort of bending over backwards to try and curtail Bitcoin, but it does make sense when you. So I watched a documentary recently. It's called "The Spider's Web: Britain's Second Empire." It's on YouTube, and it's basically about the City of London. So you've got London, and then the City of London is that tiny 1 square mile that's in their financial area that's kind of separate. It's not even part of the EU. It's technically not part of the UK. The king has no jurisdiction there.
I had no idea about that. Like I used to walk around the City of London and get fascinated by the dragons that were on and there was crests, and it was all very ornate and beautiful and cool, and the cobblestones and blah, blah, blah. But the nefarious shit that goes on in that little square mile, man.
Yeah. It does appear to be like ground zero, the origin story of the global financial snake or octopus, whatever you want to call it, spider's web, obviously in the name of the documentary, that has spread around the world. It started there, and then they set up all their offshore banking in, the Bahamas and Jersey and Guernsey and, all these other offshore banking havens. They all kind of phone home to London, the City of London. And it makes sense that they're shit scared of the spread and proliferation of Bitcoin, because it's going to eat their lunch. It's going to invalidate this secretive, disgusting network that they built up. Because you can it's free to money. Anyone can use it. No one can stop you. And they also don't want it to go that way because, it is a public ledger. So it is open to more scrutiny than they're happy with, which, you can debate the good and bad of that with your Bitcoin hat on. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately probably a good thing that your big, massive public companies and governments can actually have their books opened and scrutinized by the common man. I actually prefer that. Let's force some surveillance in the other direction for once. Let's surveil what our stupid government's doing with our tax money for once. Well,
unless they, use CoinJoin and Whirlpool and silent payments and things like that.
They're not confident enough to work it out, so there's no fear there.
Yeah. It is like, they are. When you go down that sort of a rabbit hole, it gets dark pretty jolly quickly, and I don't know if I have the psychological capacity anymore to actually do that, which is why I rely on you to let me know what's going on. But and it makes sense because you want to hold on to your power, and that's what it's about. It's about power and control. The sanctions against Iran are about power and control. The sanctions against Russia are about power and control. It's all about trying to control the uncontrollable, ultimately. That's why all of these rules and regulations on individuals, on businesses, and we'll circle back a little bit to our favorite topic later on. But it's all about control, and it's all about manipulation and trying to hoover up as much value as possible for as least amount of effort. Which is just sick. So I don't know, it's working, it's doing what it says on the tin. Bitcoin is for enemies. We do need to be mindful of that narrative that can move a heck of a lot quicker than obviously Bitcoin adoption, particularly in the mind of your neighborly NPC. or normie, as the case may be. So, you know, as individuals, we have to work like twice as hard to get over that mimetic information warfare that can just spread so quickly relative to, well, let's try and unpack sound money and the history of money and blah, 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 blah. It's boring.
You're looking for a hassle-free way to buy Bitcoin in Australia? HardBlock makes it easy. As Australia's longest-running Bitcoin-only exchange, their mission is to help Australians simply and easily buy Bitcoin and take it into self-custody. There are no deposit or trading fees, just a clear 2.4% spread. That covers operating costs, so you always know exactly what you're paying. Withdrawals are just $1.18 or as low as 400 sats with AutoSend. There are no hidden charges, no surprises, just a fast, reliable and easy way to stack sats with total transparency. Get started today at hardblock.com.au. Bitcoin made easy for Aussies.
Yeah, I don't know. I just more work to do, I guess.
Yep.
Australians got a bit of an inflation probably. Pardon me. Australia has a bit of an inflation problem. Wow, you're shocking me with that information. It's almost like if you print $700 billion out of thin air in sort of 12 months and then some, what was it? What have we been talking about? $7,000 per second. M3 money supply has been expanding that quickly recently. Like seven? Anyway, don't start me. We have an inflation problem, shock horror, and the RBA has one of two levers that they can pull. It's really just one, isn't it? They can kind of move one forwards or backwards, kind of like a steam engine. It's pretty archaic, and they'll just raise rates and hopefully curtail consumer spending because it all gets absorbed by mortgage repayments. But then, of course, the people, the businesses that are supplying their products and services to the consumers start to struggle even more. So it's kind of not really saying anything new here, but what I've got here is Australia is still dealing with inflationary pressures, rate uncertainty and household strain. At the same time, the global monetary backdrop is getting more fragile. I didn't realize this, but I only heard this week, but the US lost its last major AAA credit rating. If you can even be bothered to give any of those things credence, as we've seen in the 2008 financial crisis, and if you've watched The Big Short, like they're all corrupted at the core. But Moody's downgraded them from AAA.
The ratings agencies are corrupted at the core?
Right, absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, we saw that. I mean, they are all bought and paid for, but notionally, AAA credit rating, it's down to it's AA, it's AA1, I think they got downgraded. This was back in May 2025. But it just acts as a nice little backdrop because we're running a $39 trillion deficit in America. And to be honest, it doesn't matter what kind of debt and deficit Australia has. Obviously, it kind of will help and it acts as some sort of a buffer, which is, I guess, what happened in 2008 when we had a surplus after, that mining boom. But there's a bunch of pressure points, and you see it all around town, all around the country. Businesses are struggling. People are struggling. They can't figure out how to make ends meet. And it's such an attention-draining thing,
You know what's crazy? I've just looked up the credit ratings. So United States currently holds credit ratings of AA1 from Moody's, AA plus from S&P Global, AA plus from Fitch Ratings. Moody's downgraded the US from its highest AAA rating to AA1 on May 16th, 2025. Australia's sovereign credit rating is AAA, the highest possible rating, as confirmed by all three major global agencies, the same three that I just rattled off. Isn't that absurd? Like, how can that be possible when your average Australian is eating shit, where we've got a disgusting inflation rate, our unemployment rate is coming up and it's just spiking. It's just spiked recently. I saw 4.5% unemployment rate. We're $900 billion in debt, and we're marked to go over $1 trillion within a year. how can we be AAA? Like, this is bullshit.
This is what I want to know. And like, who's watching the watchers? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who are these rating agencies, and what kind of authority do they have where they can pass credit judgment on, like, effectively what amounts to a sovereign nation? I actually don't. I'm too dumb to understand, or even perhaps too lazy to even look into it. So maybe one of our listeners, can let us know. We might get Andrew back on the pod for a Q2 wrap, and maybe we could put that question to him, Andrew Strawman. But it's like, yeah, these people don't know. I keep thinking of that Trump line when he was talking about Israel and Palestine. He's like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? And we're just caught in the middle, basically trying to make up what we can, effectively try and stretch our dollar, find new and exciting ways to stretch our dollar further. And God forbid you try and invest any of that. God forbid you try and buy some shares, buy some equity, buy some stocks.
No,
buy
you're
some
not allowed
Bitcoin.
to. You're not allowed to pull yourself out of the hole you're in. And they've solidified that with the budget changes. So put that dream away. It's over.
I know we got a little emotion on the last episode, or at least I'll speak for myself. It's just like, wreck and ruin. Just stop taking the country to the bin. And we're kind of reeling because it was only happened on the Tuesday before we recorded. But since then, what I've noticed is a lot of obviously small business owners and even large business owners and a bunch of people, like, they've kind of just been like, whoa, hold the horses here. And that whole meme of Albo having a 47% equity stake in their business despite him doing, 5/5 of F4.
Great meme.
It's a fantastic meme. It's been working wonders. And they apparently they even pushed back and got a little salty because people were doing that. And, they were claiming misinformation and blah, blah, blah. And, the monopoly on information has gone thanks to the internet. And it's not coming back. I mean, you can put up paywalls, you can put up digital ID, logins, and all of this nonsense. But while ever open protocols exist, the monopoly of information is gone. You don't have it anymore. So just make peace with that and move on, get a better story. Obviously, they still have the monopoly on money and the monopoly on violence. So those are the two other heads that we got to slay. But the information that came out after that and the reaction from people has been very refreshing, because it's almost like the complacency has gone by the wayside and now it's like, whoa, hang on. And so it's almost like the further you push, it's almost like, this is good. I'm glad it happened. Yeah, put the policy out there. I don't know if it's going to make much difference. I think it's a matter of time before one of the other wings of the same bin chicken puts up a similar thing and people are exhausted, tired, maybe not, I don't know.
Yes, and I think that, for all the bluster that the Liberal Party is coming out with, even though they're complete wet noodle and just need to pack it in at this point, frankly, so that we can have a breath of fresh air and break out of the Uni Party, even if they do come in off the back of a wave of dissatisfaction and they do win the next election, I wonder if they actually would roll back these changes. I actually don't think they would. I think this is a uni-party decision ultimately. They had to wait until one of them had a significant enough lead, not because Labour outplayed the Liberals in any meaningful way. Really, the Liberals just shot themselves in their own feet multiple times, hence their unpopularity. Giving Labour enough lead to do something so unpopular as this budget changes and these tax changes. But I'd wager that, if we fast forwarded to 3 years from now and Liberals did take power off of the dissatisfaction in this, I actually don't think they'd actually change it.
There's no incentive to change it. It's more money in their coffers at the end of the day, despite the fact that it makes zero economic sense and won't work appropriately. I saw some tweets about the way that you're supposed to actually calculate these new tax changes, and you've got to use all of these complicated mathematical equations in order to get to the bottom, the answer, right? And that's one of the reasons that Peter Costello, former Australian Treasurer, didn't want to do that and tried to keep it simple with the 50% discount after 12 months. And that was one of the key reasons, because it was a much easier calculation. So ultimately, you're just going to pay your accountant more to sit there and run these numbers and try and figure out what kind of tax you owe based on this shitty policy. But again, it's not a revenue problem. They've got no problem spending money, and we say it. I said $7,000 per second M3 money expansion. They can just print it. So number one, why are we paying taxes on money that you can just print out of thin air? Number two, it seems like you've got a spending problem rather than a revenue raising problem. And when I have a spending problem, I have to take a good hard look at the books and figure out where I can curtail some excessive spending. These guys just sit in Parliament and go, I don't know where $30 billion, as our dear Katie Gallagher has, and I reiterate over and over again, because these people are just thieves, robber barons.
She's retarded, and the whole thing is just ridiculous. It's like the whole idea of and this doesn't even hit the most wealthiest Australians anyway, because they will be able to throw their army of accountants and lawyers at the problem and still save them a bunch of tax. It's just yet another tax on the middle class, just appropriating wealth and redistributing it to everyone else. And the double taxation is absurd in the first. Like it just fails on every measure. Like the fact that I get an income, I pay tax on my income, and then I choose to save some of that income and invest it into Bitcoin, foregoing my spending. And then when I make a profit, because Bitcoin is going up in value because you keep mistreating the dollar and printing it, I sell my Bitcoin, I take a profit, you tax me again. I'm getting double taxed. Like, what? This is ridiculous. I hate it. I think the only way the only way out of this is non-compliance. That's the
peaceful
only way
non-compliance, 100%. Peaceful non-compliance and local circular economies. Keep money local, use Bitcoin. It can scale globally, but you can use it in a peer-to-peer fashion. And that's people will just, Ian Malcolm had it right, man. Life finds a way. People will find a way. We'll figure it out. But the more you push, the more you'll kind of rile up people. I guess, and we saw that. We're noticing that. I'm certainly noticing that a heck of a lot more. What I'm curious about is how it's actually even, particularly on, and I'll have to admit it, I have an Instagram account. It's the last walled garden, but it's getting circulated on that. I don't know if it's the algorithm, pushing and reflecting the shit that I'm interested in. Obviously, that's a huge component of it. But it wasn't long ago when a lot of that stuff would be shadow banned to hell, and you wouldn't even see the light of day. And yet, there's a lot of people noticing nowadays. There's a lot more noticing, and it's being allowed to an extent. I don't know.
Well, I've thought about this in the context of quite a few things that are now allowed on social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. That you couldn't talk about 5 years ago. You can talk about today. I think their approach is actually to allow it to be discussed, but you are in an echo chamber. The algorithm makes sure that you can speak to other people that are already convinced of whatever your ideology or whatever your takes are, but they are the only people that will ever see your content and your complaints. The average normie sports baller or the average, whatever, who doesn't care about any of these political issues, they will never, ever, ever catch any whiff of what you're talking about on these social media platforms. And that way you're placated, you're satisfied that you could type your angry words into your Hugbox echo chamber on Instagram or Twitter. You think that you're moving the needle and making a difference, but you're only speaking to the converted already. It's not actually reaching people that need to come on board for change to actually happen.
Preaching to the choir.
Yes. So, Anyway.
Little off topic, but there are some positive signs with respect to, and say what you like about Karl Stefanovic. I think he's a Lego man. fairly interchangeable. But, you know, he's obviously doing the Tucker Carlson play here. But what I did find interesting and positive was that he made an apology. He had Pete Evans on, who's a good man and a proper Bitcoiner, and he made a public apology to him on his show over the anti-vax comments that he was making. And I know it's all progress. It's 6 years too late, and it's commercially. It's of commercial interest to Carl because, you know, he gets views and he's doing the Tucker Carlson thing. But I don't know. Maybe it is just we're just in our echo chamber and normies are going to norm, and Bitcoin is gunpowder, and I don't know. You'll discover it at some point. You'll have to be pointed at your face, metaphorically speaking. Yeah.
Very good. Should we talk about BIP 110 real briefly?
Well, I do want to talk about that, but before we do, I just wanted to maybe shout out Mr. Ben Eltham. You've got him on the list there, one of the Crikey contributors. And I just wanted to... I used to follow Ben Eltham back in the day on Crikey, and I think he used to drop in and out of the 3RRR studios down in Melbourne. This is long before Victoria just went full call me retard. But his headline, I don't know if you can expand on this. This headline is extraordinary. No, entrepreneurialism shouldn't get better tax treatment compared to wages. Like, this bro is as socialist as you'll get, hey? Like, he doesn't understand anything.
It's insane. It is insane because, like, what people don't understand, or clearly what the government doesn't understand as a result of these tax changes, is just the demotivational aspect of it all. You know, if you're on the cusp of starting a business, and the whole point of starting a business is you're going to make profits, which means that you are bringing more value to people, that they are willing to part with their hard-earned money to get whatever service or whatever you're offering. And the profit is your motivator to do that. And if you're suddenly having to offload 47% of it to the government under these new tax rules, if you do finally decide to retire, hang it up and sell the business, it is so demotivational. Like, why would I bother? I'm just going to go and sit on Centrelink instead.
Yep.
And what people like Mr. Ben Eltham don't realize is that your world is the way it is because people were rewarded for their efforts for starting
because of
business.
entrepreneurs who went out and
Exactly.
took the risk, put up their own capital, maybe borrowed some, had to pay it back, whatever.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, he would have written that, I dare say, that article on a piece of equipment that was invented by an entrepreneur, or at least capitalized by an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You know, come on.
And I'm not going to be so blind as to take the, you know, I'm not going to be some disgusting capitalist, you know, knob shiner, which is saying, you know, we need to be bowing at the feet of the capitalists and the entrepreneurs. No, because we do need somewhat of, you know, sensible control so that people don't get abused, so that employees don't get abused, you know, so there aren't workplace accidents and that sort of thing. We might have gone a bit too far in the direction of safety culture and that sort of thing.
I don't know, man. Have you seen the pyramids?
Yeah.
Slavery gets shit done.
Yeah.
It's not an advocate. I'm not advocating for slavery, by the way. I'm just saying, like, give people the right profit incentive, motive, etc. Or, like, just, literally enslave them.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a balance to be had. You want to reward entrepreneurs for their efforts while you want to prevent them from abusing their employees.
Taking advantage of
slaves.
people.
Yeah, you don't want them taking advantage of people. But there is a balance to be had, because if you remove that incentive to start a business, which is a very difficult and risky thing to do, you're staking your own funds to start up a business. It's a lot of work.
You're not guaranteed a return.
If you're not getting the payoff at the end, then people are not going to bother, and you're going to have less interesting businesses delivering useful goods and services in your economy. And it
Correct.
just grinds to a halt. And frankly, I predict that is what is exactly going to happen. Like, we are, you know, we've seen the, it's on my list here, but there's a 6-month annualized growth rate tracker that Westpac puts out, the Westpac Melbourne Institute leading index. It's in recession territory. And that's before these, like, rules have even come into force. You know, we're still what is it, 13 months away from them actually becoming active. We're already in recession territory. We're definitely in per capita recession territory, but this is the general recession indicator is in recession territory. So in a year from now, when entrepreneurs are like, I'm not going to bother starting businesses anymore and hiring people and spurring economic activity, does that literally turn a recession into a full-blown depression? I think it does. I think we're headed for absolute catastrophe over the next 4 years.
I've been thinking that for the last 6, and not to say that it's not going to happen, but it's kind of like the Japan thing. I always just think back to Japan. They've been heading for a recession since the late 80s, I guess. But it manifests itself in other ways, not necessarily strictly economical, financially. It manifests itself in cultural ways, like where there's a huge, what is it called? The quiet quit. They have this term. I don't know what it's
Quiet
called.
quitting,
Yeah, quiet quitting.
That happened during COVID a lot.
Stop showing up. They're just like, yeah, fuck it. What's the point? And if you are better off, just getting on Centrelink, which you're not, to be honest, because I'm pretty sure it's garbage, and I don't know how anybody survives on that. But what is the motivation to even bother, to even try to show up, apart from maybe some innate, intrinsic, moral, ethical, you've been raised right by your mum and dad sort of thing, or whoever. But yeah, we're already what is it? We're over 50% of the workforce is employed directly or indirectly by the government anyway. So pretty much there. We're at 53% of the voter base are directly or indirectly government funded. Brilliant. Incentives matter. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, there's not a heck of a lot we can do other than just discuss this once a fortnight here on the pod and encourage everyone to just smash buy Bitcoin, because it is literally one of the only ways. I mean, you could probably up and leave, move to Costa Rica, move to Dubai, move to, I don't know, wherever. Apparently New Zealand's pretty nice and they've got some bit more lenient things, but they all went psycho in COVID as well. So no one's immune to this stuff. But I don't know, man. What would you be doing? With all of this barrage of bullshit, what would you be doing if you didn't have Bitcoin?
I'd be probably in jail. But I don't think escaping is the answer. I don't think escape is the answer. If that's the choice you make, then power to you. I think it is a brave thing to escape and relocate, but I think it's equally as brave to make the resolution to fight. I think it's the cowardly thing to just do nothing. At least do something, whether it be escape, delve further into Bitcoin, help other people get into it to set up parallel economies, circular economies. But yeah, other than that, get more active politically. Go and knock on your MP's door. Tell them you're not happy. Tell them you're pissed off. Write to them. Don't just email them. They'll never read your email. Write to them. Hand write a letter. Hand deliver it, and ask to see them. And tell them you're not happy. And tell them exactly what you think. Get angry. Get fucking mad. People need to start getting mad. Because otherwise we're just going to keep getting trodden on. It's exactly what's happening because we're so apathetic and happy with our bread and circuses and watching the footy, and we don't give a shit. We don't talk about politics. The politicians are just shitting on us. And always don't forget that it's not just the politicians. It is the bureaucrats in these public, the ministerial behemoths that are running all these government institutions and agencies and programs that are equally stealing from you. You need to acknowledge that it is theft. All the NDIS stuff, you already acknowledge that tax is theft. Make sure you levy some blame on the people actually spending that tax money, which is things like the NDIS and all these other things. They are benefiting off of the theft of your money. So you need to start getting angry. You need to start recognizing that you are being stolen from, and that money is being used to make your country objectively worse. You're getting shat on both ends. So start getting angry about it to anyone who will listen. And your politician is supposed to listen, so get angry the most at them.
Yeah, who serves who, right? Get me a drink of water. That's what I want to say to a politician, whenever I meet them. Go get me a drink.
Get me a drink.
Because you work for me. Let's pivot. BIP 110. Bitcoin is having its own little to-do, its own internal to-do. It's been having it for a little while now. Tell me, what's the latest and greatest with BIP 110?
I find it so interesting that, like, the people that are happily trading Bitcoin back and forth in their ETFs or whatever probably have no idea of this shitstorm that's happening. I guess depending on how much stock you put in it, whether it's a shitstorm or not, but it is, something quite consequential that's happening with this BIP 110 stuff that most people are just completely ignorant to. And even people will admit that they might have followed it 6 months ago, but since then they've just tuned it out. But it is still a very consequential thing. So for anyone who's missed it, BIP 110, it's a proposal to try and mitigate spam content on the blockchain, and it's particularly the way they're doing it is to basically do it's like a temporary soft fork where it changes the rules temporarily. It turns off a few opcodes in Bitcoin script, supposedly to stop some ways of putting spam on the network. And it's debatable whether it actually would or not. I think it does help in some ways, but the spammers, if they're really motivated, they can find other ways around it. So it's definitely not enough. And if anyone is interested, they should go and check out the interview that just got posted by the podcast What Bitcoin Did. Danny Knowles interviewed a guy called Bitcoin Mechanic, who's one of the very few outspoken proponents of BIP 110. And it's a very illuminating interview. And it's worth listening to if you have any concerns and want to be kind of kept in the loop with what's going on with the BIP 110 stuff. I recommend going and check it out. Basically, the date for the miner activated soft fork is September. And then if that fails, then in theory, it'll go to a user activated soft fork in August or around September as well. The details are a bit fuzzy. But something that's quite concerning is, even if you've kind of written it off and be like, no one's talking about this, no one's supporting BIP 110, it's not going to happen. Mechanic in this interview actually describes how there's this game theory that might play out that actually might see the fork actually proceed and activate based on the idea that the ball only needs to get like just up to the edge before it starts rolling downhill. And if the snowball starts to pick up steam from there, but if one of the big mining pools blinks first or flinches or whatever and says, oh, okay, well, screw it, we're just going to activate it, we're just going to do it because they don't want to miss out on revenue, it's all over from there, and it's going to happen. So whether you're a fan of it or not, there is a pathway that it might happen, even though it looks like no one's supporting it. Yeah.
Abide.
Which was kind of shocking to me. That's why I'm bringing it up and saying, if anyone's interested, go and listen to the interview, because my impression was really no one, influencers aren't really supporting it. Businesses aren't supporting it. The only people supporting it are Bitcoin Mechanic. What's the core dev called? Luke Dash Jr.
Luke Dash Jr. Yeah, well, it's his.
And then a bunch of plebs that are out there kicking and screaming and saying we need this because spam is killing Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, Hodnall's behind it as well. Apparently, he's in support of it. And is it Mr. Hodl? I think he and Wicked. There's a few of them. There's a few big names. Yeah, it's all kind of gross and goes above my head, to be honest with you. And I maybe it shouldn't. Maybe I should make some more room for it. But I've always found Mechanic. I haven't watched that interview. I probably should give it a look before, but when he was screeching about a year ago, and it was like Chicken Little, the sky's falling, it was too panicked for me. It just seemed like it's definitely a problem. Spam on the chain is definitely a problem, and putting all that nefarious shit on the chain is awful and bloats it and slows it down and makes it expensive and all of those things. And Bitcoin Core devs, I'm not going to call out anyone in particular, but like they've a couple of them have been proven themselves to be economically illiterate and borderline retarded. But I don't know. I haven't given enough of a thought, but I am just really mindful of screwing around with it too much, or even it just becomes another FUD play, another vector for FUD where you can put off people that are still sitting on the sidelines. Maybe they entered a new chat. Maybe they went to the bash recently and they've been added and welcomed into whatever channels that the Bitcoiners talk about, and then they see this back and forth and they're like, what is this? Like, I don't understand it. And maybe they don't have enough time, and so maybe it spooks them. I don't know. We've got to tread carefully, because the vast majority of people don't get Bitcoin anyway. We bust our ass trying to articulate and educate the value prop of this thing. And if we're caught up in our own internal squabbles, as righteous as they may be, we might end up going 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or vice versa. I don't know. It might just be more damaging than it's worth.
Well, I think it's at the point where it's kind of it almost seems like it's going to be damaging either way it goes. If it doesn't activate and the game theory doesn't play out, which even I have doubts about now after listening to that interview, what is the actual outcome of it not happening means Bitcoin is more centralized, because it implies that the network will only change if the big companies and the big mining pools support something. And so the plebs can't have any power, or don't have any power, and can't force any changes. And again, it's subjective whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably a bad thing, I would say, because if Bitcoin is freedom money for everyone, peer-to-peer electronic cash, then yeah, it should be down to the individual plebs should be able to have their will be done if enough of them want it.
Consensus.
Yeah, but if you can't force a change without the consent and going along quietly of big mining pools, then it's not necessarily decentralized peer-to-peer open cash for everyone. It's a service. Then it seems more like a service provided by the mining companies that we are just customers of.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see the point that Mechanic makes and the Bit 110 proponents make. I'm still not sure if they're going about it the right way. And certainly they weren't. There's been a bit of a big flip-flop back and forth whether you support knots or you don't support knots. Do you support do you agree with their CSAM arguments, or is that just scaremongering, Chicken Little, skies falling arguments? I think they're right. I actually think they are possibly right, but I still think they're going about it the wrong way. That's my official position right now.
It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. I get in trouble for that all the time. Just ask my wife. Well, I guess we don't have to worry about Mark Cuban having an opinion about BIP 110 because he's reportedly sold most of his Bitcoin, claiming that it has disappointed him as a hedge compared with gold during this geopolitical stress. What's interesting is that Bitcoin has actually outperformed gold. I'm pretty sure gold since the start of the Iran war has dropped 13% from memory, while Bitcoin has, today's price notwithstanding, increased by some 17%. So Bitcoin is still outperforming gold by that metric. So he has adopted the what's that dude's name from Barstool Sports? Eats the pizzas. You know what I'm talking about?
The Jewish guy.
Used to call him lettuce hands. Yeah, because he just never understood Bitcoin. He always come in, come out. So Mark Cuban has taken up the mantle as Mr. Lettuce Hands at the moment, and he's always been a bit wishy-washy anyway. I mean, who owns, what is it, the Dallas Mavericks? Like, have they done anything in that league? I don't know.
You're thinking of Dave Portnoy, right?
Dave Portnoy, that's the boy. Yeah, he's Mr. Lettuce Hands, but Mark Cuban can have that title now. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, who is about to IPO with SpaceX, and it's enormous. It's like $1.4 trillion IPO. They've revealed that the company holds some 18,000 Bitcoin worth roughly $1.3 to $1.4 billion. So while Mr. Cuban is behaving a little bit like his namesake, I don't know. Does that joke work? I'm not sure. Trying to stretch the Cuba line there. Elon Musk is actively stacking Bitcoin. And I did read somewhere that the Mag 7 will turn into the Mag 8, and once that occurs, 25% of those in the Mag 8 hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet as a treasury reserve asset.
Wait, what was that? So sorry, I'm looking up Mag 7 and it's just coming up with a shotgun. What's the Mag 7 stocks?
Was it the Mag 7 stocks is like Nvidia?
Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia.
Yep.
And so you're saying SpaceX is now...
I guess they'll probably incorporate that into some sort of made-up, because it's just a made-up thing, but I'm sure there's an ETF out there you could buy.
And which ones own Bitcoin, did you say?
25% of them. So list them off again.
Alphabet, so Google.
Don't think so.
Amazon.
I'd have to look it up.
Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Meta, Microsoft.
Pretty sure Meta have Bitcoin on their balance sheet.
Yeah, so it's probably Tesla, Meta, and now SpaceX.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, it's better than nothing. It's like a quarter of them, which is pretty good.
Yeah, the SpaceX IPO. Be mindful out there if you're listening. I've spoken to a few people, a few boomers that are getting caught up in scams around this. They're like, people are reaching out to them, or they're seeing ads on Facebook which say, "Hey, get in quick so you can get in, get investing in the SpaceX before the SpaceX IPO," which I think is in July, if I'm not mistaken. And they're basically just scamming the shit out of Australians right now. So if anyone comes to you saying, quick, get in before the SpaceX IPO, or you've got a family member or a loved one who's talking about, I'm going to invest in the SpaceX IPO, give them a real come to Jesus moment, because they're probably getting scammed. Just a heads up for listeners. Give them the truth.
There. Well, can we pivot to that a little bit briefly? Because you did mention in the chat, I think it was last week, that this could be an extension of that, but it was in and around Bitcoin as well, right? Where you've noticed a few more scammy elements going on, particularly to do with boomers and their Bitcoin.
Yes, I've noticed that. Yeah, seems to be a scam trend targeting boomers, because they're always targeting boomers, mostly. Which is
It's because they have all the money.
They either you as the boomer see an ad on Facebook, or you see someone posting, maybe even another boomer saying, I've made some sweet returns with this platform, and you click on it and it asks you to fill out a form and give an email or send an email. But the point is, they get your email address. They take the conversation outside of these platforms, so it's not in Facebook, it's not in whatever social media you're using. It goes to email, which is a bit less controlled, a bit less moderated. and then they'll arrange a call, and then on the call you'll speak with a slick like British accent, or some dude who's acts like a stockbroker. He's going to be your personal stockbroker. Stockbrokers, they make people a lot of money. Your rich friend probably has a stockbroker. This is your chance to become rich, because you can have this smooth talking British man as your stockbroker, and he'll say that they operate out of London or something, and they get you to and then they spin a story around, okay, let's get you in for the SpaceX IPO. And then they'll get you to make a transfer. They'll do a wire transfer. They'll get you to sign up for an account with Wise or Revolut or one of these institutions that specializes in sending fiat globally. So they get you to do that first, then send them $200 or something like that across to them. And from that point, the boomer is on the hook. The boomer's like, okay, well, now I'm invested. I've given him my $200. I better follow his advice to get my money's worth. And then he'll tell you, okay, go and open a crypto account over here, a Bitcoin account over here with this exchange and that exchange. And they'll kind of get you to do a few different things at once, because their objective is to break the chain of financial control, like rollbacks.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, transactions made through debit cards, bank transfers, they can actually be clawed back. But if they get it out in Bitcoin or some other shitcoin, it's final settlement, right? It can't be rolled back. So that's why they're trying to get the boomer, once they're on the hook, to then switch over to Bitcoin. So keep your head on a spike.
A meth head.
Check in with your grandma, check in with your grandpa, check in with your boomer parents. Make sure they're not getting into any investment schemes, because it's definitely happening. And there's probably someone sitting there right now whose grandparent or parent is on the phone with a scammer right now. So give him a call, give him a check-in.
Just reach out and say hello.
Just reach
and
out.
then maybe ask them, how's that Bitcoin going? Do you have any questions? Send them over to learn.hardblock.com.au, or maybe if you've got some easy Bitcoin books, you could give them one. I guess the common thread about all these stories, and it seems to always boil down to this really, is trust. Trust in central banks are eroding. Trust in politicians are eroding. Trust in credit is eroding. Trust in the payment rails, corporate balance sheets, just monetary assets.
Who can you trust, DJ? Who can you trust?
You're gonna have you got to trust your local farmer. You got to shake their hand, but even then, maybe I don't know. Yeah, you can trust in Bitcoin. I mean, you don't have to trust. You verify it. That's the beautiful thing. It's don't trust, verify. And I guess this is the thing. Bitcoin keeps appearing in these stories because it does offer this different trust model. Zero trust, literally no trust at all. Less trust in institutions, more trust in open rules. Rules without rulers, fixed supply network anyone can opt into, opt out of, verify. And in a incredibly low trust society, where the speed of trust is like slowing at a rapid pace, it's very difficult to get shit done in a low trust society. Civilizations are built on high trust, high speed of trust environments between people, because they know they can get things done, and Bitcoin needs to sit at the center of that, and will sit at the center of that, and alleviate a lot of this rot, and hopefully we can build the future, provided the psychopaths don't wreck it first. Aromatic energy can only be beaten by love and kindness, and that is Bitcoin in abundance.
Very nice. I had a quick look at the proposed or hoped for valuation, the targeted valuation for SpaceX. Do you know what the number is?
It's over $1 trillion, right?
SpaceX is targeting a valuation of up to $2 trillion.
Holy dooly. Wow.
That's a lot of dollary dues.
It's a lot of US cuckbucks. Is that US or Australian dollary dues? 2 trillion with a T, capital T.
It doesn't say. My AI bot does not say. It just says 2 trillion.
1 trillion like if you had $1 printed at 30 at a second, $1 per second, it's like 32,000 years. It's just shy of 33,000 years for one of those, and they want, say, roughly 66,000 years worth of value
it's a total
creation.
scam, isn't it? Like,
total scam.
Like the business isn't worth that much. And I mean, how much is a business worth when you're measuring it in fiat currency, which is already dubious, nefarious in itself. But like 2 trillion is a lot. That is a lot for a
private company?
Like SpaceX is not generating revenue. No. It's not.
It's got subsidies from the state, right?
Exactly. It's not generating revenue. Its existence relies on a lot of
VC funding money,
subsidies and stuff. The only thing that might be generating revenue is Starlink. Well, I don't even know if Starlink is generating revenue because, again, we're talking very sophisticated infrastructure, and yet, like, I have Starlink and I pay like $70 a month for that.
Yep.
How many people are using Starlink in Australia? Not many, but how many satellites are dedicated to pointing at the very small number of customers that are in Australia? Probably a lot. Even that number doesn't make sense to me, even though I think it's a very sophisticated and awesome technology. I still don't think it's generating revenue. So, like, yeah, 2 trillion. It seems like I don't want to eat my words later, but it seems like if you buy in after the valuation, you're probably going to be having a bad time.
You're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. But I could eat my words, and it could turn around. They could turn around and say, like, "Hey, yeah, we discovered anti-gravity." I guess that's the thing, right? Like,
pretty abundant energy.
Yeah, if they do turn around and say, "Hey, we discovered anti-gravity," or we worked out how to do a space elevator, so now we can infinitely mine from the moon or something, I don't know, some crazy shit, then yeah, they are probably worth $2 trillion.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Next episode, just going to shout that out. We got Mr. Adam Ahmed coming on, tax lawyer, tax accountant, tax expert, and we're going to be talking about our most favorite subject of all, tax. But it's going to be helpful. It's going to be useful for people tuning in because it does get complicated. It does get nauseating. And, to have someone like Adam, who has been on the Australian Bitcoin podcast in the past, going to refresh some of his takes and get some of his insights about
it'll be
how
really
this all
good to
works.
get his take on the new changes. Because I particularly just want to ask him, like, we kind of briefly talked about this last recording, but, what's the calculation? Like if he can work out the calculation for us, do you actually sell before the change happens? Like, if you've already been thinking of selling some, do you sell it literally the day before the changes come into place, 13 months from now? Do you do it? Is it better for you to just do it? So it'll be good to get his take on the new rules.
Never sell your Bitcoin.
Agreed.
Keep money local, use Bitcoin, never sell your Bitcoin. If you want to learn more about Bitcoin, you can go to learn.hardblock.com.au. You can tune into the Australian Bitcoin podcast. We do this every fortnight or thereabouts. We've got plenty of resources. If you host a meetup and you want some easy Bitcoin books, like I'm holding my hot little hand, reach out, content@hardblock.com.au, and we'll send you some. We might even throw in a few stickers as well. And I'm pretty sure... Oh, I just wanted to shout out everybody for the Pizza Day initiative that we ran last week. We had a really good response to that. We were going to run that the whole day. We had it capped at 21 existing HardBlock customers and 21 new customers, which is still in play up until tomorrow afternoon when we release this, 5 o'clock Adelaide time. The competition ends for new users. But the existing users snapped that prize pool up within 43 minutes, I think it was. It was nuts.
That's relevant shout out for anyone who's affected by the Strike debanking. So if anyone's not aware, Strike, they're an American company run by Jack Mallers. They opened up Australian services 3 months, no, longer than that, maybe 6 months ago, I want to say, in Australia. But then out of nowhere, last Friday, they announced that they are ending support for Australian dollar payments. So it appears they're having some issues with their Australian banking partner. So yeah, if anyone is orphaned and needs an exchange, where if you sign up now, there's a 10K bonus sats on the line. Join us.
Yeah,
Join us.
Australia's longest and easiest Bitcoin only exchange, longest. Not that long, we're digital. Dude, fantastic conversation, great rip. We covered a bit of ground here. If anyone does have comments or everyone's got an opinion, shill it, let us know. You can email us content@hardblock.com.au if there's topics you want us to cover. If you have any feedback or what have you, do reach out and let us know. But until next time, when we do this again with Adam Ahmed, thanks, dude. Have a good couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. And actually, yeah, if you have any specific questions that you want to ask a Bitcoin tax accountant, email them through. So if you have any burning accounting questions related to Bitcoin, send them through. What was that email one more time?
content@hardblock.com.au.
Sweet. Yeah, send us comments. We can ask Adam, get some good tax advice there, and get some takes on the new rules. And yeah, go to Bitcoin Bush Bash. Bitcoin Bush Bash. What is it? Bush Bash. I always get the website wrong.
Go to a Bush Bash. Go to a meetup.
Bush Bash.
If you don't know any meetups in your area, start one. It only takes 2 people to have a meetup.
It's awesome. Seriously, find a meetup near you. The meetups are listed on the Australian Bitcoin Industry Body website. So look up Australian Bitcoin Industry Body. You'll see meetup groups posted there. And then bitcoinbushbash.info. That's got the all the different bush bashes there. And they're awesome. Shout out to I bought some soap at Sats. What is their website?
Earthmum, Soap21.
Soap21.com. Good shout outs. Great
that
soap.
clove soap. You rub that clove soap over your body, baby. Oof.
Yep. Pay with Sats. Get some tallow soap. It's great. And and you can buy them in person if you go to a bash and she's there.
Yes, sir. All right, dude. Thank you. Talk soon.
Very good. Bye.